Hello and welcome to another double feature where a horror and an anime addict swap films and try to persuade each other that I don't know,
stuff matters.
Yeah,
that we're not all alone in the vast expanses of the internet. Did I say internet?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. That's a good start.
Yeah, it's a good start. I just realised that this timer's actually in shot, so
hey.
It's not very good. Okay, so we haven't done one for quite a while. We have not done a double feature for a while. We've not done many videos really for this channel for a while, for various different reasons. But this is us back, and bear with us because we did actually swap these films like 2.5 months ago, and we watched them then.
Yeah,
so
but, well, you know, it's been weather and pretty much
plague.
Basically, yeah, pretty much everything that could go wrong did go wrong to prevent us from making this video. But none of that matters. We're here now.
Okay, so let's start off with the horror film then. I gave you...
Yes, Mike gave me this time John Carpenter's 1987 film, Prince of Darkness. And I think I can say quite safely that it is the strangest Carpenter film I've ever seen. Hand on heart, I still genuinely don't quite know what to make of it.
Really?
But, yeah, I'm honestly still trying to divide by zero when it comes to making up my opinion of this film. I suppose I should probably introduce the film in the time-honored tradition.
Probably, we're really rusty. We've not done one of these in a while.
Yeah, we really haven't. Basically, the film starts with a middle-aged priest played by Donald Pleasance, who, after the death of his elderly colleague, inherits possession of this mysterious canister that, you know, has hitherto been sort of walled up inside this disused church in Los Angeles, and not quite knowing what to make of it, he brings in this sort of local team of academics and scientific researchers to investigate just, you know, what it is, what it's for, that sort of thing. And, you know, they come to the conclusion that trapped within the cylinder is this kind of great ancient evil force, and should it be released, it could destroy the universe.
Sorry, no, I don't know what I'm doing.
Nah. But yeah, as I say, it's a very strange film. I kind of, now, if I remember right, I can't remember what he's credited as, but John Carpenter, I believe, wrote this film, although he's credited by as another name. I can't remember off my...
Martin Quatermass.
That's it, yeah. And
which is an homage to Nigel Kneale's...
Yeah, Quatermass in the Pit and all that. And I don't know, because I was surprised that I think Carpenter's got the sole writing credit on Prince of Darkness, if I remember rightly.
I think so.
Yeah, because in a way it sort of felt to me as if they'd started writing one film and they'd started writing another film, and then they'd kind of married the two together a little bit. Or either that, or maybe they'd redrafted it at some point, because I feel that the film always starts in one way, which is quite a scientific, kind of sceptical take on a sort of traditional ghost story, I feel, and then it kind of slowly goes into something a bit more traditional as the time goes on, I feel, that, you know, kind of as you get towards the latter half of the film, it becomes a more traditional, sort of, almost a sort of 10 Little Indians thing going on, with, you know, without wanting to give too much away. But yeah, I thought there were a lot of good ideas in the film, and, you know, I just feel that Carpenter's usually considered to be the kind of master of economy, you know, that his films are generally quite economical, and with this it feels as if he's maybe muddled it a little bit.
Really? I'm really surprised at that.
Because I felt like he starts out very strongly. I was amused by the fact that he brings in, you know, both Victor Wong and Dennis Dunn from Big Trouble in Little China, and I think Victor Wong particularly is very good in the film.
Yeah.
He gives a great speech towards the, you know, he plays one of the academic researchers. I think he's a physics professor, if I remember rightly, and he gives this great speech at the beginning of the film about how he feels, you know, like sort of everything, you know, although in the reality that we perceive, you know, we have sort of fixed rules of what we can and can't do, what we can achieve, this sort of thing. But he feels that, you know, at the subatomic level, everything breaks down, and I thought that was quite an interesting way to start the film. It sort of gives you just a vague idea of maybe what to expect. But I don't think the film really capitalised on that, because I think that kind of
on the physics aspect.
Yeah, the sort of scientific aspect of it. I feel that kind of gets lost along the way as they go on. I mean, there are little nods to it throughout the film. I mean, probably one of the most interesting things is, I don't think it's a spoiler to bring up the video aspect. Is that kind of a spoiler?
Well, it depends what you're going to say about it.
I was just going to say that it's there and it looks kind of neat.
There's an important part of the film that where the people who are trapped in the church start dreaming the same dream, and it seems to be because they're in close proximity to this casket that's underneath the church. And that dream seems to be a vision of the future, and it's as if someone's filmed it on like a sort of low grade home camcorder. Which I think is the most haunting part of the entire film.
I would
one of
agree
the most haunting things I think the Carpenter's
I think
done.
that was a really clever thing that they did with that. That, you know, really does stand out in the film. But again, I don't think they quite made enough of things like that in the film for my money. I mean, which is a shame, because I mean, there's a lot. I feel there's a lot to recommend the film. I mean,
the thing is, I would say that it's a film that, you know, Carpenter came off of a number of big budget flops.
Yeah, I think this is the first independent film he'd done after his kind of bad experiences with the studios.
So he went back into doing that, and I'm surprised at what you say, because I think the film looks beautiful. You know, about the budget, I think the film looks beautiful. It obviously is a low budget film because it's got only, the majority of the film has just got the one location, and but I think what they did with the budget, you know, is pretty phenomenal. The physics aspect of it, that was how Carpenter came up with the idea for the film. Was I think he was on like a book signing tour or something like that, and he picked up a book on quantum physics, and he just when he was waiting at a book signing or something like that. May have that wrong. It's something like that.
It's plausible.
And he started reading it, and he found the idea of like quantum uncertainty and all that like interesting. So he thought he would write a science fiction based thing that marred science, that sort of melded science fiction and horror, and that's why I think he thought, you know, he loved the Quatermass series. It was a BBC science fiction series from the 50s and 60s, and I think he thought he'd write it under the name Martin Quatermass as a wee homage to it. But I mean, I think for Carpenter fans, I would say that Prince of Darkness is more increasingly coming out as like one of the favourite films for them, because
that kind of surprises me. I mean,
it's more that it's a forgotten Carpenter film, and it's being rediscovered now by new audiences, and I think that the reason I think it works, I think it's got so much, like most of Carpenter's great work, it's got a whole lot of different things going on. I think I think it explores adequately the idea of science and religion. It doesn't unfortunately explore the conflict really that much between them, but you know, there's a little bit of that in there near the beginning. I think that the film obviously has, you know, Carpenter themes, you know, sort of being under siege and being trapped, and I think that there's a great amount of tension towards the end. I think it really ramps right up and builds right up, and you're kind of like, you know, really, you know, on the edge of your seat. At least I felt that the numerous times I've watched it, and I just think in general, like I would recommend it as like probably one of the most underrated horror films of all time. I absolutely love it. There are some people that don't, but the consensus that I gauge online is that not a lot of people have seen it, but that most of the people that have really like it. And let's say I totally disagree about it being muddled. I think it's a really precise, tight script, you know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's, as I say, I just get the feeling that they kind of start off going one way with it, and then that kind of gets pushed by the wayside a little bit, because I mean, there's some elements in it that I feel kind of suggest that they were looking to do something slightly different with it originally. I mean, the main male character in it who I don't know, do you get the feeling that the guy that plays Brian has a rather passing physical resemblance to Carpenter, that there's maybe kind of a Carpenter stand-in a way? I don't know, maybe it's just a tash, but I kind of get the feeling that this is like...
I never thought of that.
But what kind of went through my mind particularly is that at the beginning of the film, you see him kind of observing the main sort of heroine from afar, and there's almost this slightly stalkerish quality about this.
But I think that's quite clever, because that's harping back to previous Carpenter films,
Yeah, but I mean, they don't really do anything with it. I thought that was quite an interesting thing. I liked that, but I didn't think they really went anywhere with that.
But I think thematically there are a lot of things that are explored in the film, and obsession is probably, in there, lust and... all the things that come with a religious upbringing, but
so I just thought that was kind of an amusing contrast to the kind of the situation of the hero and heroine in The Fog, for example, wherein like about a couple of hours after picking up Jamie Lee Curtis, the main character, is in bed with her. And
that's awesome. Tom Atkins following. Right, so you didn't time the high five. That was the worst high five ever. Anyway, so we're running out of time, but so your verdict would be it was alright?
Yeah, I think I enjoyed watching it. As I said, I don't think it was my favourite of Carpenter's films, but definitely worth seeking out if you're a fan of his other stuff. Yeah.
And I would say it's an absolutely forgotten gem. I think it's one of Carpenter's best. Go check it out. I think that's... Okay, so let's move on to the film you gave me. Which
yes, this week I inflicted upon Mike Satoshi Kon's 1999 film. Perfect.
It was round about that time.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit earlier than that, but I don't know.
We'll put a card up.
Yeah.
Perfect Blue.
Perfect Blue. I thought... I probably should synopsis it first. We're really rusty at this. Perfect Blue is a story about a girl in her sort of mid-20s called Mima, who is part of a successful pop group, and she decides that she's going to leave that pop group and embark on a career in acting. And the film progresses as her acting career's not exactly going brilliantly, and the pop group that she's left have some more success. But the key thing to the film is that her fans seem to not be too happy about the fact that she's left the band, and there is an internet site where someone seems to be posing as her, giving instructions about how she feels about certain things.
Mima's room, I believe.
Yeah, which Mima, the main character, realises, she's sort of looking at this site, and basically people start getting killed, and that's the story. I don't want to really ruin it for you. Yeah, and that's good. I like that. And I love this. If Alfred Hitchcock were to make an anime film, this would be what he would make.
Absolutely.
It's what's really interesting about it is the fact that this is the first time where we've done two films that are similar in terms of, Perfect Blue is the closest thing to a horror anime film I've seen. And
you specifically said, did I know of anything that was a horror film, and this was the first thing that came to my mind.
And I thought it was stunning. It's really Hitchcockian in that it's a good old fashioned suspense thriller. It's obviously got parts of the horror genre with regard to the sort of stalking element, and obviously people being murdered. And what it also does is it's got a heightened sense of a surreal reality, where Mima's character starts to see things and hear things that she's not entirely sure are there. And I think, interestingly, Darren Aronofsky bought the rights to Perfect Blue.
Yeah, this is the thing that I had originally hoped that before we got to doing this film, the clever thing would have been to go and see Black Swan.
I've seen it.
Have you?
Yeah.
I haven't. The last thing I went to see at the cinema was The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. So yeah, living the dream, guys. But yeah, no. So did you think there was much? Because I think originally when Aronofsky bought the rights, it was to use one scene from Perfect Blue in Requiem for a Dream.
Which he did, I think.
He did, yeah. The scene in the bathtub, yeah. Did you think there was a similarity at all between Perfect Blue and Black Swan, which is what a lot of people have been saying lately?
More, I would say more the atmosphere of the film, more than anything else. You've also obviously got a female protagonist, and you've got the idea of reality breaking down and the question about whether there's a conspiracy against her. But apart from that, I think it's got a similar tone to it. However, Black Swan in many ways it goes a bit darker, I think. Anyway, with regards to Perfect Blue, I just thought it was a fantastic film. Really loved it, and it really blew me away.
How did you find the artwork, by the way? Because I think one thing that interests me with a lot of Satoshi Kon's work is that quite often you see the sort of rendition of the human characters in it as, you know, kind of less than perfect. You know, I think this is an ideal.
Well, the film.
Of that.
Yeah, the film starts off with the last performance by Mima's band, you know, together with her in it, and there is this fanatical fan who gets in a fight with someone, and he's really sort of drawn like there's something really seriously wrong with him.
He's kind of, I mean, he is kind of a grotesque, you know, there's no getting around it. It's there is, I think, this kind of very expressionistic kind of element to Perfect Blue. You know, not only in the fact that a lot of the time, particularly in the second half of the film, a lot of what's going on is more about the kind of state of mind of the characters rather than just what's purely happening to them. But also, again, in the artwork, I think you do see it in the, you know, a lot of the time what the character's outward appearance is like kind of maybe reflects something of what they're like on the inside as well.
Yeah, it's a very clever film, and I think that let's say if you enjoy a sort of thriller that sort of explores the mind of someone who is perhaps going through a breakdown, and there's implication that it could be other people that are going through the breakdown and perhaps not her, and you know, I think you start to wonder, you start questioning, your mind starts, you know, sort of working a little bit, and you start exploring more extreme ideas like, are some of these people not real, and you know, is any of this happening to her? You know, that sort of thing. And no, loved it, thought it was great. Really would love to find something similar to it in anime, but
well, this is the thing, because this is actually the only one of Satoshi Kon's films that I've yet seen. I feel kind of slightly ashamed of that, as I really should get around to the other ones, but I feel for a long time this has been the only one that's really appealed to me, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I think I don't know why, I just I look at, you know, the sort of descriptions of the other ones, and none of them really sort of jump out at me the same way this one has done. But I do intend to go back and look at the other films that Satoshi Kon in his tragically short career has produced, and hopefully, you know, we might be able to.
That's right, because did not pass away just last year.
He died last year.
Yeah, that's right.
He wasn't even, you know, he wasn't terribly old. It's a real tragedy, honestly.
But like I say, I would definitely recommend it, and especially if you're into, you know, I'm a massive Hitchcock fan, and I really love the suspense genre, and I think if you watch this film, it's really reminiscent of what some of the things that Hitchcock has done. I think, you know, I think the ghost of Vertigo is very much in this film with regards to the breakdown of reality, and
I think it's a very relevant, possibly even more relevant to us in sort of Western societies now than it might have been at the time, because we see this kind of the pop music juggernaut that I think Mima is perhaps trying to escape from in the film. We see that now more clearly, the way that fame can chew people up and spit them out, and that I think is a big theme in
definitely is that the question of fame, and also is it worth it? Because there's always going to be, if there's ever a film that put you off becoming famous, it's probably this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but go with it.
Tale for our times.
Yeah, go with it. There are moments where you start thinking this is maybe getting towards the end. There's some choices with the animation you might think this is going a bit too far, but I really loved it, and I can't really say much more. I was interested to read though that it was based on a book.
Yeah, I believe originally that this was planned as a live action film.
Really?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. It's I think it was an issue with the funding, if I remember rightly, that kind of caused them to go for the animated route instead. So.
Right. I mean, I think there's always rumours that Aronofsky will eventually.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, because it seems like the sort of thing that could easily be done as a live. It
surprises me that he made Black Swan instead of that, actually, since like I say, tonally it's like a similar thing, and I could completely have seen Natalie Portman in the lead, because I have to say she was actually fantastic in Black Swan. She was really, really good. Anyway, so I think the verdict is we both love Perfect Blue. I think Prince of Darkness is a classic horror film, and you thought it was.
Yeah, I thought it was worth seeing. Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be doing many more videos. Yeah, and many more episodes of Double Feature, and we'll try and get a lot more stuff up soon. I'm finishing my dissertation in March, so after that there's going to be short films and all sorts of things we're going to be doing for the channel. Can't wait. So it's a goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
Bye, Alan.
Bye, Alan.
Wave to the audience.
Hey. I'm waving to the internet.
The internet just gave you the finger.
Oh.